bu bàbá la rẹ̀ mọ́ kéèbó tó dáyé la ti ń sayé kéèbó tó dáyé la ti ń ṣèjọba kìí ṣe pé wọ́n kàn mú ojú wa tàn mọ́lẹ̀ sáwọn nǹkan kan ni kìí ṣe páwa náà tí ì mọ jẹ́ èèyàn orí tá a bá gbọ́jà kalẹ̀ tàbá a bá gbé nǹkan kalẹ̀ tá a fẹ́ kẹ́nìkan kó débẹ̀ tá a fẹ́ kí wọ́n jí àlè là á fi sọ yálà èèyàn mú aṣọ pupa ó so mọ́ àbẹ́yàn bá gbégi ọsàn tó so jẹ̀gbẹ̀nẹ̀ táwọn èèyàn wàá yé jí ká àmọ́ fa lè sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti so aṣọ mọ́ táwọn èèyàn bá ti rí wọ́n ti pààlè sára kínní ṣé Yorùbá sì bẹ̀rù tí à ń pè láàlè abọ̀wọ̀ fófin jọ̀hún ní wọ́n bá ti rí tí inú wọn bá ti so nǹkan mọ́ níjọ́ náà wọn ò débẹ̀ mọ́ wọ́n pààlè lẹ́nu ní tí ẹ fi ilẹ̀ yìí o wọn ò fẹ́ á débẹ̀ wọn ò fẹ́ á mú o bẹ́ẹ̀ yàn bá wá mú tọ́jára alé wọ́n kọ́kọ́ pa lọ tí wọn ò bá pa lọ nǹkan burúkú ní ọ̀sẹ̀lẹ̀ sóńtọ̀ ta lẹ́nu ọ̀wá rárokò àbárokò ó ṣàlàyé nǹkan ni nǹkan báyọ̀ wáyé o nǹkan báyọ̀ ṣẹlẹ̀ o bí ẹ bá mú ẹfun ní ìsìn àmì òye ní tí ẹ fi ránṣẹ́ sí ìyàn ẹfun rèé ńgbà wọn bá tù wò tí wọ́n fi ránṣẹ́ yìí yùn ní pé ó joyè o tàbí ẹ bá mú èèpẹ̀ àti kùkù àgbàdo tí ẹ dì í papọ̀ tí ẹ bá ránṣẹ́ sí ìyàn tí ẹ sọ ni pé mo fi lẹ̀ bẹ̀ ọ́ àbọ̀gbọ́ mo fi lẹ̀ bẹ́ òun lè pẹ̀ tí ń bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ sùkù àgbàdo tí wọ́n ń bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ yìí iṣẹ́ ìgbọ̀nsẹ̀ ni tí mo wá sọ fún ọ àìfi rán mi ẹni ìwọ gangan ni ọmọ ọ̀bọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ yóò ti rí nù.
ẹ ṣeun ẹ ó bá wà pẹ́ o ẹ ó bá wà pẹ́ olóògbúrò bàbá wa ẹ ó bá wà pẹ́.
Àmẹ̀jẹ̀jẹ̀ rédíò tí ó láfiwé Olúyọ̀lé FM àwa ni bàbá.
Ancient warlords in the Pacesetter state. This is Oluyole FM 98.5 Ibadan.
Give thanks to Allah for the moon and the stars. Praise Him.
Well, that was Femi Emmanuel on Turning Point before the airway. And I'm going to start today's program with the program of Abashebi of a Seed of Christ, thereafter Comfort Life Vision. This is Oluyole FM 98.5. I told you today is a special Friday right here in IB City. Let me say in Oyo State. Yeah. Well, with the time now, with the time 3 minutes to 7 right here, your number one radio station, Oluyole FM 98.5. Magide cut short leave to install Ladoja as Olubadan. Nationwide blackout looms as electricity workers get directive to commence strike. More of this on Conversation right now. You're welcome. Conversation.
right, a very good morning. This is Oluyole 98.5 FM on the stables of the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. Welcome you to Conversation this Friday morning, the 26th day in the month of September 2025. And Conversation where we bring you stories making the major headlines in the dailies, and we do our best to give you top-notch analysis. In due course, we get to open the phone lines. We invite you to be a part of our little talk shop as together we try to analyze those major events unfolding around our dear country, our nation, and our world. And that's why the program is called Conversation. Our thoughts, views, and opinions, what we will be sharing with you as presenters and analysts, not the corporate views of the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. And well, that in a nutshell is what we do on Conversation. Mondays to Saturdays, except Sundays, we are here. And of course, we are networking on Oluyole FM 96.3. That's our sister station in Alaga in the Oluyole of the state. Agility FM, Gambari, Ogumosho on the 90.1 FM down. And that's our sister station in the Ogumosho zone of the state. So, as we like to tell you, no one beats our reach. All over this great state, yes, we are there. Beyond the state, we are there. And beyond the shores of Nigeria, just latch on via the social media platform, Facebook precisely, and you are on to Conversation. Once again, wherever you are listening across the world, you are welcome. My name is Tola Teriba.
Now, my name is Bimbo Akombi. Thank you very much for joining us on the program this morning. And of course, like you know, and like Tola has said, this is how we do it every day, every morning on this station, and giving you headlines, making the rounds around the world. And yes, we are always there for you.
Well, in case you are wondering what's wrong with Bimbo's voice this morning, Bimbo has toothache. So just bear with us this morning. Bimbo, how's your tooth, Bimbo?
Well, it has improved a bit. Improved a little bit, but I thank God.
All right, well, today, like Big Daddy Kenneth Graham said when he was introducing, starting on the program, today is Special Friday in Ibadan, and Ibadan is definitely agog. Arusa 1, Arusa the first. Well, the title of the new Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja, and he's been formally officially crowned today. Well, a very spectacular event. Well, a little like no other that we've had in the coronation of Olubadans in this climb, in Ibadan land. Well, there are so many things, as everyone knows, very special about this great man who is about to ascend the throne of Ibadan land. And of course, that makes his coronation very spectacular, a very, very epoch-making event. It's a Hausa 1, Oba Ladoja's walk to becoming 44th Olubadan. And they're all set for his coronation today. Governor Makinde cuts short his vacation and resumes. Well, that puts paid to all kinds of speculations,
yes.
All around, stating that that perhaps Governor Makinde might not be at that event, and there are some people who were ready to rub it in that perhaps all is not well between the governor and the new Olubadan. But then we know that is not true, and we know, as a matter of fact, that everything is very okay between the Kabiyesi and his son, Governor Seyi Makinde. And Governor Makinde, yes, has done the needful, cutting short his vacation to be the one to have the honor to present the staff and instruments of office to the new Oba. Well, here is a warning for violators of traffic advisory. It said the government says they risk having their vehicle impounded, and the government has made impeccable arrangements in any case, for people to go along alternative routes. There are certain routes that have been dedicated for that event, because the number of dignitaries we will be expecting, and the volume of people coming into Ibadan land, and of course it is expected that we are going to have a higher volume of traffic Africa, and this has to be managed. So this is the reason why some routes have been dedicated for that event. Now there's an advisory regarding alternative routes, and that will be enforced. Now, most instructive for me here, Bimbo, is this quote from Obaladoja, what he said in 2024. He says, and I quote, "By the grace of God, I will become Olubadan." And he knows that he ascribed everything to the Most High, the grace of God and the will of God. And he also goes further to acknowledge the Most High, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. He says, "God has been merciful to me. My blood pressure has been stable. Anyone God destines to become Olubadan will become Olubadan." Ladoja in 2024. So he's definitely a man of destiny. And I also remember when a journalist, whenever they interview him, I covered him for 3 years as government office correspondent before that unfortunate and unjust impeachment. And the only time journalists asked him, okay, what do you want to do next after governor? He was always consistent. He says, my desire, God willing, is to become the Olubadan. Well, God has answered your prayers, Kabisi. And then we say congratulations again and again and again. And then, Arusa won Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja.
Well, I think apart from designated routes to be plied by motorists, I think some car parks too have been dedicated to car parking to the event, so that they will know how to find their way to the main event. And also, don't forget, big screens will be put in strategic places. Big screens, so that as those who cannot get to the venue, they will have the opportunity of watching from some angles where the screens will be, strategically placed. And I think some areas within Ibadan.
I would like to warn criminally minded people this morning. You better change your mind if you want to go there to steal or to commit crime. The security agents, they have you on their radar. And I can assure you, you will be full of regrets if you are a criminal and you intend going to that place to perpetrate crime. So even if you are a criminal and you want to go there, just behave and then look elsewhere, even outside the state, to go and commit your crime. Because the Commissioner of Police and his men and other security agencies are very, very ready.
The Army,
to deal with you.
Operation Burst, Civil Defense Agency, all of them are on ground. So just think twice. And let me just quickly take you through this journey. Yes, the journey to the Olubadan throne in Ibadan, the ancient city. Every journey to the Olubadan throne begins with becoming a Mogaji, that is head of the extended family compound. And for Oba Ladoja, this came in the 1980s when he was installed as the Mogaji of the Ladoja family of Arusa compound. Am I correct with that pronunciation?
I think it's Arusa.
Arusa compound. Isaleusi, Ibadan. Ladoja became Jagun Olubadan on October 1, 1993. He was installed by the famous Olubadan Ashanike after his promotion to Jagun Olubadan, the very first rung on the Egbe-Agba line, which marked his formal entry into the chieftaincy hierarchy. And it became a gradual but steady climb up the rank, with each title carrying greater responsibility within Ibadan's traditional council, and he successfully climbed the 22 steps to reach the Olubadan throne. From the Otun line, from where Ladoja emerged, the movement is from Jagun Olubadan, Ajia, Bada, Are Onibon, Gbonka, Are Egbe Omo Uta, Laguna Are Ago, Ayigun, Aṣáájú Ìkọlàbà, Ààrẹ Alásà, Àgbàkin Ẹ̀kẹfà, Máyè, Abẹ́sẹ̀, Ẹ̀karùn Olúbàdàn, Ẹ̀kẹrin Olúbàdàn, Àṣepa Olúbàdàn, Òsìbálúdàn, Olúbàdàn, Ọ̀tún Olúbàdàn, and eventually Olubadan. And in 2022, Ladoja was formally elevated to the position of Otun Olubadan, the second in command to the Olubadan and the highest ranking chief on the Egbeagba line. He thus became the most senior of the Ibadan Cyril chiefs, which placed him next in line to become the Olubadan. Although there have been some, controversies sometimes along the line talking about the lesser obas that he wanted to be conferred with. I think he refused that during the last administration, but later he was appeased to receive that obaship.
All right. We all say, well, all hail the king.
Yes, and after today's the grand finale, there should be 2 events coming up next week, I believe. I think interdenominational church and mosque services, all in his honor.
All right. Away from that now and to politics. Banner headline before me, and it says 2027 we will stick to ADC. Mark Atiku Amechi others resolve, and they should, like they have a choice, Bimbo. Already they have played too much of the turncoats, so for them to jump boats from ADC again. I don't know what that would tell Nigerians or what that would say about them. Like I said, Nigerians are the wiser, and they had better stick to ADC and resolve whatever differences they may have amongst themselves. And okay, there are riders, and say them Atiku, Mark, Amechi. They rejected ADA, and well, this one says we will strengthen APC for Tinubu in Kano, and that's coming from Ganduje, Barrow, and others. And they vowed to unseat NNPP.
Yes, and even Barrow, Ganduje, others step up plans to displace NNPP in Kano State. That is another angle.
Chieftains of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, rose from a national caucus meeting on Thursday night with a resolve to wrest the All Democratic Alliance, ADA, that's some people call ADA, or translated machete. National Police Secretary of the ADC, Madam Bolaji Abdullahi, disclosed this to newsmen at the end of the meeting held in Abuja. Correspondence checks revealed that ADA, linked to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and certain chieftains of the ADC, was one of the 14 associations seeking to be registered as political parties that scaled the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, orders for recognition. Now, further checks revealed that Atiku and others might have resolved to jettison a movement to the ADA following INEC's recent decisions to accord recognition to Senator David Mark-led interim executive of the ADC. Abdullah said the ADC leaders were no longer interested in pushing for the registration of ADA. So that arrangement has definitely collapsed. I'm talking about the ADA now. Well, it looks encouraging. If for them, if they are harmonizing their thoughts and they are deciding, looks like a step forward for the party if they are deciding to come together and all be part of the ADC. He said the coalition has rested everything concerning the ADA. That's still quoting Bolaji Abdullahi. And he says that means they're not interested in the registration or otherwise of the association. Well, interesting.
Yes, on this angle that I'm looking out here, looking at here, the leadership of the, that is still talking about the ADC now, the leadership of the opposition coalition has demanded that its members resign from their current political parties and join the African Democratic Congress fully, although it gave no specific deadline for the transition. That is according to the Punch. The National Publicity Secretary of DGC, Bolaji Abdullahi, stated this in Abuja on Thursday following a caucus meeting that included senior party leaders and prominent political figures. The All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party have dismissed a directive by the African Democratic Congress directing prospective members of other parties to decamp to the ADC ahead of the 2023 general elections. So that means, if I get it right, that means then some people that have shown interest in the ADC are still one leg in their original parties.
Well, they must test the waters in case the prediction of the presidency comes true and the APC, the ADC eventually implodes. So they still want to retain their seats wherever they are coming from. Like you said, but one leg in, one leg out. The Yorubas will say one laton.
Yeah, one laton.
So,
and well, the APC and the PDP, I said the move by the coalition posed no threat. Yes, no threat, and would have no impact on them. I think the APC and the PDP have seen maybe some kind of blinkering at the end of the tunnel, a little light at the end of the tunnel.
And why do I have this feeling that the two original major political parties, the APC and the also PDP, why do I have this feeling that, especially the APC, why do I have this feeling that they have this strategy to ensure that the ADC does not fly, does not really fly, does not succeed?
Because I'm thinking meetings, I'm sure meetings are on. Various nocturnal and other kinds of meetings to make sure that maybe PDP and APC comes together to deal with the PDP. To deal with the APC. To deal with the ADC.
With the ADC. And I have this feeling that the APC, he could actually, and the presidency, they could actually have their foot soldiers within the ranks of the ADC, masquerading as lovers of ADC, whereas the intent is to help the ADC to destroy itself. Well, that is up to the chieftains of the ADC now. And like I said, if these ones have resolved to stick to the ADC and to at least accept the leadership of David Mark and others, well, just maybe the ADC might have a chance at actually flying. And then you will see for the first time a rooster, Akoko, actually flying like an eagle. So,
yes, and since the ADC was introduced in July 2nd as the coalition platform to challenge President Bola Tinubu in 2027 elections, a few opposition leaders have switched parties to join it, and however, most of them have yet to formally leave their existing parties. And for instance, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar left the People's Democratic Party, but has not officially joined the ADC, and that is what. Similarly, Peter Obi, the Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate, and several others continue to remain in their respective parties despite associating themselves with the coalition. And that is what the executive of the ADC is calling for now. Let them formally declare for the ADC. And I don't think, well, we don't know what will happen. Let's just see. Let's just see, don't look. Like the later Chief Bola Ige, Attorney General of the Federation, then would say.
But away from that now, a nationwide blackout looms as electricity workers get directive for industrial action. Oh, really? People, you know what I think? I would have said they should go and sit down. But then, of course, for obvious reasons, that who don't have the power before.
Yes.
But the reason why people like us cannot ask them to go and sit down is because we, for instance, in our establishments, we rely a lot on them.
Yes.
If there's nationwide blackout, if there's no power at all, we know how much we will spend on diesel. Even when there is power, we know how much we spend on diesel to keep the station running. Ditto for other establishments like us and the industries, the hospitals and all that. So I guess that will be their target, to make Nigerians feel the brunt of their industrial action.
What about Aso Rock?
Oh, Aso Rock.
Solar.
Even if it's not solar, even if they run on diesel, I don't know what they run on, what alternative power source Aso Rock runs on, but whatever it is, you can be sure that Aso Rock is not going to feel anything. You understand? So, and the vast majority of Nigerians are not going to feel any difference because, sometimes I think early this year we were praising and hailing them to why that things have gotten better. And some people try to tell us that, well, I don't know if they were right. They were trying to tell us that it's because of the onset of the rains. That hydropower, which we rely on, that the dams are filling up. So that is why we have more power and all that. And then, of course, the government, they told us that the Minister of Power said they were generating more megawatts of power. But then the generating companies, or was it the strong companies now, that they didn't have the facilities to cope with the additional power generation. So they said they were building more stations for them so that they would be able to cope with the amount of electricity additional electricity being generated. But here we are now. What has happened to all those efforts? What has happened to all that? It's getting worse. And we've had only God knows how many number of grid collapses we've had this year.
Yes.
So, but let's see why they are going on strike, Bimbo, and in the workers in the power sector. The nation is set to experience total blackout as the National Association of Electricity Employees has directed its members to commence strike. And this follows the expiration of the union's ultimatum to the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, over some staff welfare and operational issues. The union says the directive for the strike takes immediate effect and has called for total compliance from all members in the TCN's employment. A statement entitled Call to Action, issued on Thursday by the union's acting general secretary, Comrade Dominic Egwe-Bike, directed members to withdraw their services to such a time that the TCN management will be ready to discharge its obligations towards the workforce. And of course, they have every right to demand a better service conditions, like every other worker. They have every right, and well, I do stand with them on this in their demand. But what I'm talking about is what impacts would their going on strike have on the ordinary Nigerians. But like I said, maybe if you look at the industrial sector, the real sector of the economy,
affect them somehow.
Of course, it would affect them seriously.
The ordinary Nigerians, they don't even want to know if there is electricity. Even if they don't go on strike, the electricity is irregular. It is not regular. It hasn't been regular. Like I always say, now it will be the maybe 8th month that we'll be having electricity supply. If not for a little small solar that we are, relying on. If not for that.
And even if even the industries that we are talking about, Bimbo, of course, it has become a reality for them that you must have alternative
power supply.
In an economy like ours. Some African countries, smaller African countries, they laugh at us and tell us that we are a generator economy. So and which is very true. It would be unthinkable, Bimbo, for you to establish any industry now and not think of alternative power
supply,
and
yes.
not think about diesel or any other source.
But that has been on for a long time. If it was not for that, petrol and diesel prices have increased, astronomically. People will still be, enjoying themselves. Like if petrol was being sold for 50 naira now per liter, or 100 naira per liter.
Well, to the National Association of Electricity Employees, I want to say that maybe they should also help the government to identify the principalities and powers that someone said was bogging down the power sector. I think it was a top government official that said that some time ago, that the power sector was being plagued by principalities and powers which he did not identify. So maybe the power sector workers too should kindly help the government to identify those ones, even if those principalities and powers are amongst themselves.
Yes.
Maybe they should weed them out. Then we can start from there. Let's have this commercial break. We will be back.
Any motor where you dey drive, you need confirm protection, for your engine, make it mobile, make it mobile, anywhere you dey, your motor deserve to be number one, make it mobile, you carry the go, make everybody join me, say, make it mobile,
make you go with the best.
make it mobile. Conversation.
Right, we're back on the program. Is still Conversation on Oluyole 98.5 FM.
Yes, I have this here. Still talking about the economy now. Well, experts, economists, yes, they have come up with some kind of theoretical analysis of the economy. Now, this one says, expert economists, worst times of reforms, pains over, manufacturing are stabilized. Gains begin to reach average Nigerians.
Well, if that last one I don't agree with, maybe I could agree with the former experts, economists saying worst times of pains over. Well, they say the pains are over. They said the worst is over, and say manufacturing has stabilized. Well, that could be true. But as to the gains reaching the average Nigerian,
that is what me too I don't understand. Let me just go through it. Economists, finance experts, and business leaders yesterday agreed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's macroeconomic reforms have led to the emergence of Nigeria as a stable and promising economic powerhouse. Experts in different presentations outlined that tough decisions taken by the Tinubu's government have reset the economy with gains in economic growth, foreign exchange forex, inflows, national forex reserves, foreign direct and portfolio inflows, currency stability, and international ratings. And they, however, said while the policies have restored investors' confidence, there is need for consumers' confidence, and the consumers' confidence is what will make the common man feel the full impact of the policies. Do you believe that?
Consumer confidence. Oh, whatever that means. Well, I guess a matter of semantics, what it means if you want to translate via semantics, consumers' confidence. But then the CBN, they did say that they had reduced lending rates. I think they said 27% now. They cut it down by 50%. So maybe we should also begin to see the impact of that. And like we said the other time, there seems to be a gradual reduction in the prices of some staple foods, the cost of some staple foods. Well, rice particularly. But then I hope that the gains will indeed reach the average Nigerian. And I want to ask again, for the opting time, that question that I always ask this morning. Talking about staples now, talking about food. There was an elaborate plan during the last administration to astronomically crash the cost of rice by encouraging local production. And then we are talking about local rice, and then some states even came together. They gave it a particular name. I can't really recall it now. I think Lake. The names of those 4 states.
Yes.
Now they call it Lake Rice or something like that. And as far as that, there was this selfie the former president, now late, took with some bags of rice, pyramids, some rice pyramids, and they took that selfie with that, and then at the end of the day, the promise was that the markets would be flooded with that rice, and the prices of rice would crash down astronomically. That never happened.
Yes, was it real rice that they took the selfie with?
Well, some people are saying that it wasn't real rice. Some people are saying that the president himself was deceived, that some people just bought the rice there. His lieutenants just bought the rice there, and at the end of the day, they took the rice back to wherever they took it from. Just the way that someone also tried to fool the president with Air Nigeria.
Air Nigeria, I wanted to say Nigerian flag insignia. And so it was later discovered that it was a plane that was flown in from Ethiopia, the Ethiopian Airlines. And they just did a ceremonial event, and everybody thought that yes, well, Air Nigeria, Nigeria Airways is dead now. Air Nigeria, and we thought it was. We now found out that it was just a ruse. It was not true, and they all thought Nigerians have been fooled.
Oh, President Buhari, God rest his soul, I'm sure one of the things he would have regretted most when he left office was the fact that some people tried to make a fool of him. Well, they actually succeeded, and then he was fooled into thinking that those pyramids were real, and they gladly took that selfie with the pyramids. So only later when he would have discovered that they had only fooled him. We seem to have a semblance at a reality now with what the current president and this government, with what they are doing. Well, it seems as if things are, although slow and painfully slow, but it seems as if we are getting somewhere gradually, and I hope we will not be proven wrong at the end of the day.
Yes, like you said, you talked about the average Nigerian, talking about, for example, rice now, staples. We all know when the prices of rice, rose then. Rice, which used to sell for about 6,000 then per bag, came up to 78, 80, 85. Almost going to 100,000 per bag. Yes, there were hues and cries. Now, per bag now is about between 50, 65,000.
65.
It has tremendously reduced. Now, then, when the price of bag of rice was sold for the 80, 90, the price of the normal Congo, like we call it Congo, also rose. Now, bags of rice prices have come down again. The Congo, for a household that just buy about 2 Congos or things, it remained up there since that time. Yeah, what do you think is happening? We are the ones fooling ourselves. Yes.
Well, I think it's currently fluctuating. Like many of them, well, like we said the other time, many of them are giving the excuse that they still add the old stock. But then the truth is that if you visit the markets now, you'll see some kind of fluctuations. Well, the difference is not very much, but then it's still fluctuating.
Well, let's hope it will eventually, the reforms will eventually get properly to the roots.
Okay, do we have a commercial now? Okay. Right, Lagos recorded 112 building collapse incidents in 7 years, says BCPG. And 12 incidents between January and September 2025. 7 persons rescued as 2-story building caves in, all in Lagos.
In Lagos, and we don't really know what actually causes this incident. Some is saying due to materials. How do they call it now?
It should be maybe quality of materials, and then the people patronizing quacks in the profession.
Yes. Then still talking about collapse building now. What about talking about the locations they are erecting these buildings on?
Well, it still all boils down to lack of proper regulation, and that is also very key. If you are hunting for quacks, if you are hunting for people who are selling poor quality materials, then you must also be on the lookout. You must also be able to enforce building regulations. Ogoni 4 Posthumous Award, OCIA, that's the Ogoni Central Indigenous Authority, insist on no resumption of production in Ogoni land once establishment of Truth Reparation Tribunal. Well, old wounds are yet to heal in Ogoni land years after, and that is why the OCI is saying this. Their experiences with oil, which is supposed to be a blessing to them, has been a very ugly experience, especially under the military administration. They were almost wiped out, Bimbo. And yes. I remember the task force set up by the then Abacha government, headed by Major Paul Okuntimo. I remember him. Yes. The man was a butcher. He was the one that led that task force in Ogoniland, and then Well, the military establishment then was very pleased with him. He was promoted to Lieutenant Colonel, then Colonel, and then very briefly, I think he was military administrator in Rivers State. Paul Okunsimu. And any establishment of a Truth and Reparation Tribunal, I think he should be made to answer for some of the atrocities he helped the government to commit at that time. I don't know if he still lives. Just hours after President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, announced a posthumous award to 4 Ogoni chiefs who were killed in 1994 over issues related to crude oil production. The Ogoni Central Indigenous Authority, OCI, has insisted on no resumption of oil production in Ogoni land. OCI, one of the foremost Ogoni rights groups, said the federal government must meet the demands of the Ogonis before the entry into the area to exploit the estimated 200,000 barrels per day oil fields in Ogoni land. Thank God this is democracy, and of course they have their representatives in the government and National Assembly, so no one will be bulldozing their way and because to force them to resume production.
Yes, I think it was sometimes last week. During this week that the federal government said it has set up a committee, to meet with the leaders of the Ogoni land so that they will resume activities in Ogoni land. Now, this one, I don't know whether Nigeria is ripe for this, although I think we are ripe for it in a little way. That is talking about some Nigerians calling for, complaining that 804 billion naira arms imports is sparking calls for local production of arms. And well, I am seeing here, different kinds of arms that some Nigerians are now calling for. Yes, I'll get to the story now. Now, it says Nigeria spent 804.10 billion naira on arms and ammunition imports between 2020 and the second quarter of 2025, according to data obtained from the National Bureau of Statistics. And despite moves by the government to expand domestic production, recent data revealed that the import bill remains on the rise, raising concerns about foreign exchange depletion and national security dependence on external suppliers. And this came as the local manufacturer has increased the call for deeper collaboration with the country's armed forces for the production of some arms and ammunition domestically, stressing that this would considerably reduce the huge FX spent on arms imports.
But it's not as if we don't produce arms locally. What should be asking for, like contained in that story, is the expansion of domestic production. Like all other sectors, we have refused to develop capacity to produce arms locally. We have Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, DICON, I think that is located in Kaduna. And aside from that, we have brains, people who are capable of. If you see some of the arms, some of these arms, the imitation of the AK-47, especially by those brains somewhere in Igbo land, they have this spiritual. And then during the Civil War, they performed wonders. They were actually producing their own weapons and all that. And I remember, I think Big Daddy, although he was a boy then, but of course, Big Daddy Kenneth Graham will remember this armored car. They called it the Red Devil. Yes, and Red Devil. This mine, this Red Scorpion. Red Scorpion was Red Scorpion was the man. Red Scorpion. But the Red Devil was that the armored car that the federal troops dreaded at that time. Then there was this mine, they call it Ogunugui. Or something like that, and then Big Daddy Kenneth Graham helped to plant some of that as a boy.
Yes, because he will not know anything then. They will just call him, boy, come here.
So, actually, we have the capacity to do that, but then we are not just harnessing it. Let's have this commercial break. When we are back, we'll open the phone lines.
Èyíkéyìí ọkọ̀ tó bá ń wà. Onílọ àpò tó péye. Máa dágun lá jẹ́ kó jẹ́ mú bí. Níbikíbi tó bá wà ló mú ojú lọ́wọ́. Ó yá sọ pé. Jẹ́ kó jẹ́ mú bí. Lóbìnrin ṣúlẹ̀ ọjọ́. kó jẹ́ mobile.
Lọ pẹ̀lú ojúlówó.
Jẹ́ kó jẹ́ mobile.
Alright, we're back, and the program is still conversation on the Oluyole 19.5. Time to open the phone lines, so we'll take
Yes, 08055009850 or 07055551985.
conversation, and we sincerely apologize for that breaking transmission. Our first caller is there.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Tola, Mr. Bimbo.
Good morning, Mr. John.
John, calling from Yumet Wala Dori in Ibadan this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I came as an uninvited guest to witness firsthand of the coronation of His Imperial Majesty Oba Rashidi Adewodu Ladoja. A man who has seen it all. A man who has nothing to prove to anybody again. In business, very successful. In politics, very successful. In governance, top notch. Ibadan has never produced a non-entity as a king. Neither will they produce one in future. Because you grow through the rank. Before you become the Olubado. So that is the reason why Ibadan can never produce a non-entity as a king. But His Imperial Majesty Oba Adewodu Rashidi Ladoja, this one I simply call him Oba Yoruba, because he's going to play a fatherly role to many kings, not just the political space, but he's going to play a very big role in Yoruba land. I wish his reign become peaceful. And Mr. you advise that the troublemaker should not go near. You don't need to advise them. With what I saw on ground since yesterday, I myself asked my driver to park. I will be checking every looks and corners where I can get a view. Already, like Mr. Bimbo said, there are some viewing centers where you can see clearly. Don't go near. But if you wish to go, I will not advise you not to go. Go. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, Mr. John. It's good to have you in the Ibadan, Mr. John. And of course, maybe Mr. John, I hope you have a taste of Amala and then Begiri before you leave, Mr. John. I strongly recommend that for you.
And if you can, after the coronation, if you can just take a let's say stroll to the BCOS, yes, we will really appreciate it to have you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Bimbo and Tola.
Good morning, Baba Dayo.
The peace of the Lord be with you in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I welcome Mr. John, my friend from Ilorin. So, and I want to implore him to heed your invitation. Mr. John, you should go to the BCOS. Go and meet Tola and Bimbo and all other people that are necessary to be met. Thank you. His Royal Imperial Majesty Oba Rashidi Adewodu Ladoja, the new Olubadan of Ibadan land, said, and I quote, "If God wills, I'll be the next Olubadan. By the grace of God, I'll be the next Olubadan. My BP is stable. He that is destined by God will become Olubadan. And by the grace of God, he becomes new Olubadan today. Whoever operates on this godly and golden principle operated on by the new Olubadan, that if God wills, by the grace of God, etc., it will be a success. And this is a beautiful and useful lesson that our politicians in particular and many Nigerians in general should learn. I want to quote myself as an example. I spent many years on the teaching on NCE Keda before I had my first degree. And I wanted to become a school principal. And I had many people ahead of me. So that before I could become a principal, I would have retired. And I wanted it. And I didn't go after others that are before me to kill them, to jam them, or to do whatever, or to write petition against them. I just pray, God, make me a principal. And lo and behold, the new Olubadan that is being enthroned today, he came to power as the governor of Oyo State. And many big secondary schools, he started disarticulating them. And because of the disarticulation, many secondary schools were open. And I qualified to be made a school principal. Those of you who are...
Oh, Baba, sorry, that's from your end. Because, we have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bimbo. Good morning, Mr. Antola. Mr. John is welcome to me. Mr. John should be out about it to visit you guys. And so you can serve him a man. Thank you. I don't know the reason why. Okay, let me start from the new Olubadan. May his reign bring peace and joy to Ibadan land. But my advice to him is that he should not. He's an experienced administrator and all that. So, but my advice to him is that he should not. People will push him to do it, but he should not be joined behind a politician. He's no more a politician, though. Baba should know that, though. Baba is no more a politician. Baba is for everybody now. So, Baba should now play the fatherly role that he's supposed to play. Baba should not get into politics again, because Baba is a father for everybody now. Then, the reason why the president was not at the United Nations meeting, I don't know. He missed the last year's one and he's missing this year's one too. The reason why he's not there, I don't know. So maybe his spokesperson should explain to us. Then, but Mr. Tola said something about innovations in Nigeria, that we have the brains and all that to do all those things. Mr. Tola, we have the education system we operate in this country. It's preventing us from achieving a lot of things.